Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next installment of Elements Reborn Development Koi. This is our fourth update, I think. I am Flat Mars Theory, one of the members of Team Avatar, and your host for the evening. And today's a special update episode in that it's going to be a little different than the previous three. I think there was three. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, so I've kind of lost track of what's been going on. It's just life has been very busy for me, but also for the developer Jay, our lead head honcho on this here Elements Reborn project. So why is this one going to be different than the last Development Koi episodes? It's simple. This is going to be, instead of the normal procedure that happens during this where we go over what has currently been developed or what has just been developed since the last update and what is the plan for the future, this time we're just going to focus on the plan for the future. And this is going to be very big picture. This isn't going to be specifics yet, but this is to give everyone who watches kind of just a generic overview of the future of the project and how a few things are going to be changed here in the next coming few months. Does that make sense? The next coming few months. The next few months coming soon? Yeah. So anyway, this is Elements Reborn Pre-Alpha Future. This is the future of the Elements Reborn Pre-Alpha. It's going to get broken down into really 4 major points and then a 5th point that we'll get to at the very end that's important. The first thing we're going to look at is what the future for the entire project is going to be. And this isn't going to just be the game development itself and what is going to be developed next. This is more meta, big picture, everything involved. So, example, more developers are needed right now. Jay's doing this all by himself. He has some, obviously, we've got a pre-alpha, so there's some experience here with Unreal Engine 4, but he still needs help with things like 3D modeling and whatnot, development of land designs, and, building a game is a huge process, especially one with the scope that we have here. So it's going to be a pain in the neck to do it by yourself. It would be a pain in the neck to do it by yourself. So he's going to be advertising to other developers. And the other thing that makes this difficult, I'm sure, is that being a volunteer project, a passion project from a fan, it's harder to get volunteers than it is to pay people, obviously. And with the Avatar fan base, we are younger. If you grew up watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, if that was your childhood show, you're probably in your mid-20s right now, maybe late 20s, if you got into it a few years later. I'm 24 years old, so I grew up, that was my show. Avatar was what I watched growing up. So I imagine you're in your mid-20s, you're either, oh, there's a plane flying overhead. That's nice. It's like the one time that I take out of my day, my busy ass day. I am a university student. I'm married. Like, I have so many things I do over the day, and the 5 minutes that I take out to record this, the plane has to fly overhead. Sorry if you heard that. Anyways, most people, I think, that grew up watching the show are in their mid-20s. So if you are, there's not experienced developers that are also huge fans of the show because they grew up watching it or they found it later. It's just a small selection of people. So it's already hard to find volunteers for a passion project, and then it's even harder to find volunteers that have a passion for a childhood show that came out. So, I mean, I know it's been, 2019 now? The last season 3 was, I think it was just 10 years ago or 11 years ago. Either way, the point is, I know I've been rambling. The point is, more developers are needed, and it's really hard to find them. So development is going to be slow until more people are able to show up. More future points. The story is going to be focused on a lot. If you noticed in the Discord, Jay he's been experiencing some writer's block. I can relate. It's difficult. And not only is it difficult to write a story for a game, but it's difficult when you think of the scope of this project and what he would like to see get done. Side quests and character development, that's a lot of writing and a lot of stuff it's much more difficult than just sitting down and writing out a story. There's so much more than that. So the idea is to make a lore-heavy game, even if we can't use specific assets, because you can't say airbenders and firebenders and this is Avatar Aang. You can't just lift property from Nickelodeon and Martino and Knizco. You have to come up with your own stuff, but also have it be so close to the source material that it's not copyright infringement, but it's clearly derived from. It's hard. It's a fine line. It's a lot of balance. It's a balancing act. But the story is a big part of this project, and so working on developing the story as well as developing the game yourself, it's a lot of work. If you or anyone you know would like to contribute, you may have noticed that Jay asked for help. Send in short stories, send in anything that you feel like writing, and if it's good, if it can be used, it probably will be at this point. It's a good way for you to get involved with the development of the project, but also keep things moving as well. The Discord is going to be revamped to get a more professional look in the future. Again, this is still looking at the future of the project. I know this is a longer update video compared to some of the other ones because this is a little bit of a bigger... there's a little bit more content to this one, but the Discord is going to be revamped to give it a more professional look, more organization, and some new roles are going to become open in the Discord in the future. Project managers, community leads, stuff. We're trying to get a balance of professionalism because this is a project. It's a basement project. It's, someone sitting in their own time doing something that they care about. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean that you can have no professionalism. Having a structure to how things run can be beneficial. I'd be worried about it getting maybe too structured, personally. I don't think you need 50 different titles for people on a project that really doesn't need more than a handful of lead development. But hey, this isn't my project. I am but a mouthpiece. I'm not paid for my opinions. I'm not paid at all. Moving on to the expansion to the pre-alpha, and this is more specific. There's not going to be a lot of information here, but it's still something. The date's not going to be confirmed because we ran into issues with the launch of the pre-alpha, if you were here for that and you remember, where we thought it would be done one day, but then it wasn't, so it kept getting pushed back a day at a time, and there's no reason to get your hopes up for, it's going to be out November 25th, and then life happens, and it's not out November 25th. So there's no date right now, but you can expect it to be finished around the November and December time frame. That's given him a pretty big window, which from now, the date of this recording is October 14th. So a month and a half, expect it to be out. Just no specific. We're staying away from specifics for now. The next big change that's going to be coming is to the combat mechanics of the game. If you have the pre-alpha, or if you haven't, you can still get it. There's another video on the channel here for YouTube on how to download and install the Elements Reborn pre-alpha. The combat mechanics are pretty basic, but we expected that. It is a pre-alpha, extremely bare bones. I know I've said that a million times. In the process of Jay doing the game, creating it, he wants to create a combat system that feels familiar but stands out. That's pretty, cool. Let's do it. He says he still has that vision, but he wants to change the course of how it's working right now. What's going to happen with the combat system? It will be adaptable to your own play style, but it will also require you, in some cases, to think outside the box to defeat foes. It's not going to be a straightforward. It's not going to be a straightforward system. It's not going to hold your hand, but you will also be able to adapt it to your own play style. The controls, however, are still probably going to stay the same. It's going to be mouse-based controls, left click to initiate attacks or defend capable, whatever it is. the actual mechanics, the controls of what we have in the pre-alpha are probably going to be the same. It's not going to be too much more complicated, but the system itself, it's going to be a little bit different than it is now. That's all I've got on it right now. I'm just going off the notes that were given to me, so we'll get more information on that in the future. But moving on to the map. Some of this stuff is, it's things that we've heard before in some of the other development updates, which is nice because this is showing you that these things are being worked on. Some of the other development update videos, there has been specifics of what kind of changes to the map there have been. If you have seen in the Discord, we have the height map of Russia and all that stuff. Go watch the other development kois if you want to get the specifics of that. But and this is still talking pre-alpha too. This isn't overall game, but the next iteration of the pre-alpha should have a dungeon, another village, at least one extra village, if not more. A lot larger map size. We saw that with the Russia. More detailed map. That I assume that means foliage, trees, rocks, flowers, detail, less, just more life to the map. Quests that work, we'll get that. And then walking NPCs that traverse the landscape, a little more alive than the ones that we have in the current pre-alpha. Moving on. I guess that's it, actually. Those are kind of the big points. That's what we want to hit right now. All right, now for the conclusion of this update. This is just an important message. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening. I know it was a longer episode. It was just a little bit more broad overview information, but all the stuff that we've been talking about is going to be starting up in about a month. That's when the development is going to be kicking off again. Life is very busy. We all understand that. Some of you probably more than others. Jay is taking care of some personal business over the next month, as well as focusing more on advertising to developers to get them involved in the project rather than working on the project itself. So all the stuff that we talked about it's going to start up again probably in about a month and then take off from there. So that's just the last little tidbit of information. All the stuff that you heard is going to be starting in about a month, and then we're going to see that pre-alpha expansion probably also month and a half to 2 months from now. November, December timeframe. That pretty much wraps it up for development koi number 4, I think. I'm pretty sure. And if I'm wrong, then I'm going to feel pretty stupid, and I'm not coming back to re-record this. With the plane and with everything, it took enough time out of my day already. Thank you guys so much for watching. Get your friends involved. If you know anybody who has any kind of Unreal Engine experience, get them involved. If they loved Avatar: The Last Airbender, if they just want to help out. We need all help we can get to get this thing, keep it rolling, keep it coming out quick, and we will see you next time.